Here we go again, putting a happy face on death. What's funnier than a midget getting wrecked or a creep blowing his top? How about a woman with a case of bad death? Or a survivalist who doesn't survive? Then there's the guy with the killer cock, and the stoners who lick frog butt. And finally, a woman bites it in the Garden of Eden. They're all going down on the next episode of 1,000 Ways to Die.
Warning. The stories portrayed in this show are based on real deaths and are extremely graphic. Names have been changed to protect the identities of the deceased. Do not attempt to try any of the actions depicted. You will die.
Death is everywhere. Most of us try to avoid it. Others can't get out of its way. Every day we fight a new war against germs, toxins, injury, illness, and catastrophe. There's a lot of ways to wind up dead. The fact that we survive it all is a miracle. Because every day we live, we face 1,000 ways to die. Why is this man running with a bag of groceries? Late for work? Hungry? Rushing home to feed grandma? This loser stole them from a blind, pregnant woman. Nice, huh? You'd like to think a creep like this would get what he deserves. Sit back and watch. The creep found himself hiding in a car wash. The owner, not realizing there was a creep in the works, ran the daily maintenance check. Suddenly, he found himself attacked by an army of nozzles and brushes. He became disoriented, unable to find his way out. Then he slipped and impaled his skull on a high-pressure nozzle. Water began to fill his cranium until... When the loser lost his footing, he tapped himself into a spray nozzle, packing 1,000 pounds of pressure. Water forced his brain to the top of his skull until his head popped like a champagne cork.
Once this instrument was in the brain, in the skull, and the water started squirting out, the brain has no place, no time to adapt. And as a result, death can be sudden and extreme because of the sheer volume effect.
It's nice to see bad guys get what they deserve. The creep didn't get caught. He got hosed. The door opens on an illegal cockfight, and we enter a world filled with brutality, cruelty, and violence. And that's just the human side of it.
Keep attacking.
Fernando had a wife and 4 hungry children to care for. He was hoping his prize rooster, Corazon, would help him put some food on the table. It was Fernando's bad luck that his opponent was a man known as Maldito. Translation, the Wicked One.
You know, you'd think a chicken would be chicken, but they're not. They're purely territorial and pure aggression. They do not want another rooster in that area. They just never back down till one is dead.
The fight was on. Maldito's bird, El Caliente, was a seasoned killer. It was obvious Corazon was outmatched. Soon enough, in a blur of claws and feathers, Corazon was dead, and Fernando was devastated. While the crowd erupted around him, Fernando grew suspicious. Something didn't feel right. Then he saw it. tiny razors hidden on the back of El Caliente's talons. Maldito had cheated. Fernando spread the word. Soon enough, the crowd turned into an angry mob looking for blood. Maldito's blood. There was no escape. Maldito was a trapped animal fighting for his life. He stumbled and fell, and the mob was on him. But El Caliente beat them to it. The vicious cock turned on its owner, slashing Maldito's throat with the hidden razors.
The jugular vein doesn't have any protection from any bones and no really thick tissues. It's out in the open. Once that vessel is cut, the bleeding is profuse because that is the primary draining vein for the blood in the head.
Abusing animals for entertainment has been around a long time. With guys like Maldito out of the picture, maybe it won't be much longer. Coming up, Kinky turned stinky for a horny housewife, and a little person gets a big headache.
Hi, honey. How's work?
Cynthia and Kenny have a very modern relationship.
You're horny.
While Kenny's at work, they stay connected through online video chat. To keep things fresh, Cynthia makes up naughty role-playing scenarios. Today, she has something very kinky in mind.
Sex is very important to a healthy relationship. And for some people, it can get a little bit boring or routine. So sex game can be a great way to kind of spark things up and make it fun again.
Cynthia gags herself, ties herself up in a chair, and handcuffs herself in. At work, Kenny takes it all in, getting horny as a three-balled cat. But before he can ditch work early, an unexpected visitor lets himself in.
What do we have here?
Kenny watches in horror as the masked burglar robs them blind.
Oh, that's nice.
The last thing to go, Cynthia's laptop. Before he leaves Cynthia gasping for air.
You made my job a whole lot easier.
Mr. Burglar happens to have a case of halitosis that could peel paint. His breath smells like something that comes out of the wrong end of a large farm animal.
Thanks, honey.
The smell can totally cause a physical reaction and cause you to vomit or cause you to be sick to your stomach.
It was as if Cynthia had stuck her head down the poop chute of a full porta potty. She blew chunks, but the chunks had nowhere to go.
When you vomit, your body is detecting something that it doesn't want to be there. A signal gets sent from your brain to your stomach via your vagus nerve, and it says, please empty out the contents of my stomach. Food or bile or stomach acid should never go into the lungs because it will impede our body's ability to take in oxygen. And so we essentially drown in our own vomit or our own secretions.
For Cynthia, a day that started with kinky fun just became too hard to swallow. Some say size doesn't matter. In the world of midget wrestling, Spud and Nick were living proof. Despite their pint-sized proportions, they were giants. Their underground fights always drew a bloodthirsty crowd. These little luchadors were rock stars. They fought hard, and they played harder.
I don't think one drink is the same for little people as it is for average height people. We have smaller bodies and the alcohol is intensified. I don't know, maybe that makes for better entertainment, you know?
This night it was business as usual. A couple of full-size hotties, a bottle of booze, and a cheap hotel room.
Oh, I've never done it with a little guy before.
Hey, not that little.
I definitely think that little people do want to compensate, and that might drive them to do things that might be outlandish.
Spud and Nick might have been little people, but they were big-time headbangers.
1, 2, 3.
These guys are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
The brain has a remarkable capacity to sustain some injury, some blows to the head. There is some cushioning, some padding around the brain which helps us. However, there's a limit to what the brain can take.
No hotel room got out alive when these two were in town.
Ready for the grand finale?
The drunken half-pints decided to hit the wall again. Nick busted through, but Spud, not so lucky. His big head hit a part of the wall supported by a 2x4 stud.
You can get what we call a subdural, where all these bridging veins are going like that and those veins break. You can also have damage to the blood vessels where you can bleed, and the bleed can take up space, which can eventually lead to herniation and death.
Spud was a big man in a small world, but in his face-off with a stud, he came up short. Up next, a sleepwalker doesn't wake up, and Mr. Froggy went a-courtin' and took a licking. There are two things you need to know about Warren. One, he was paranoid to the point of paralysis. He saw conspiracies everywhere he looked. The other thing, he was an insomniac. He would lie awake all night long waiting for them to come and whisk him away. To protect himself, Warren placed deadly booby traps throughout his place. Anyone who violated his space would regret it.
In an extreme case, individuals suffering from paranoia always imagine people are talking to them, talking about them, following them, plotting against them, etc.
To combat his insomnia, Warren got a new prescription for sleeping pills. Maybe tonight he would finally get some needed rest. But his sleeping pills came with a dangerous side effect: sleepwalking.
It's a rare occurrence, but people have reported sleepwalking, sleep eating, sleep driving even, and sleep sex.
Even though Warren's conscious brain was still asleep, his body wanted a snack. He popped on his night vision goggles and made his way to the fridge while still completely asleep. Past the bear trap, under the flamethrower, to the fridge, where he avoided the poisoned darts, and finally sat down to enjoy his leftover chicken when the laser-operated shotgun blew his brains out.
If you have a shotgun blast, it's going to do extensive damage to the tissue, some of the bone. You're going to have pieces of debris going into the vessels and possibly causing an embolism or a stroke.
Warren felt the world was out to get him. But in the end, he had nothing to fear but fear himself. ship traveled the world to chronicle their quest for the ultimate high.
Yeah, smells smokable to me. Did it, bro?
These two would go anywhere for a buzz.
Dude. Now, in India, they actually smoke this feces right here that you can see.
For years, they had been looking for the psychedelic high that comes from licking the secretions of a certain toad.
Little amphibian, the Buffa alvaris, which is somewhere in these marshlands, which we're about to discover.
Here, froggy.
Lick this frog's ass. It's like acid.
Boy, I see one. Got one.
No way, you got one?
I got one.
All right. We got one finally, and it's in Tripp's shoe. Showtime. This is all we came for. This cream on these frogs is gonna send us on a trip, man. Farther than the moon. The war to end all wars, man, with our minds. Who's gonna go first, though? I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first. Take the honors, man. Lick that.
If he stopped right there, bad things wouldn't happen. Oh well. The toad they thought they were licking lives in the southwest United States. The one he just licked is something called the poison dart frog. Enough said.
Why someone would go and lick a toad to see what happens is beyond me. These are the frogs that the Indians wipe their arrows on and go doop in a dart gun. Smack a monkey, and the monkey starts feeling the effects within about 15, 20 minutes. And go, what? Lunch is served.
Sucking this frog's butt was the equivalent of French kissing a rattlesnake. The two creatures contained toxins with similar compounds. Some of those compounds cause hallucinations by stimulating the nerves. Some block the nerves, resulting in death. Tiny protein chains called dendrotoxins enter the bloodstream and the nervous system. They begin replacing the normal protein chains linking the body's nervous system. It leads to total heart-stopping paralysis. The secretions from a poisoned dart frog will start out making someone feel as if they are simply hallucinating.
This is my girlfriend. Her name is Stick.
What's this stuff on me, man?
But in reality, these two misinformed naturalists were dying. What have we learned from their miserable deaths? As you go through life, no matter what frog you meet, it's probably not a good idea to lick its butt. Coming up, a gardener picks a pecker and winds up pickled. Patty was a dirty girl, as in soil. Gardening was her passion, and everything she touched would grow. That's why when a neighbor strolled by pushing his bike with a flat tire, she was all eyes.
Do you need a little help with that?
It wasn't his tire that got her attention. It was the big tube stuffed inside his bike shorts. She wondered what effect her green thumb would have on something like that.
What's up?
Nothing much. Maybe we should get drinks sometime.
Sounds fantastic.
In her backyard garden, Patty was thinking about her upcoming date. Mr. Big had a bicycle built for two. Could she handle it? She looked around to see if any of her veggies could be of help. A low-hanging zucchini looked promising. Patty worked her zucchini like a pro, but lying in wait was a dirty hoe.
The big difference with an inanimate object is that it's not attached to anything. So there's a limit as to how far it can go down and how you can extract it. What happens when this inanimate object actually goes to the larynx? Well, it obstructs the airway.
It's simple. Plants need water, Patty needs air. She dropped to the ground, dead from suffocation. Patty tried to prepare for her big date. She just bit off more than she could chew.
It's original.